Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Turin here with another Warhammer Total War Live Battlecast. In this particular game, we are going to play the Greenskins, just kind of a traditional Greenskins build. A few lads might make an appearance. Looks like we're going to get some Goblin Big Bosses, so definitely not going to let you guys down completely. So we'll get these guys, give them the Potion of Toughness here, and also we want to put them on the Spider. The Poison is just such a good, tool to have at your disposal against the Empire, who has a lot of like harass type units that'll fly down, hit you, and leave, and poisoning them makes it a lot harder for them to get away. So we're going to get an Orc Shaman as well. Make sure to put him on his War Pig so he can run away from those scary Empire threats, and we're going to get rid of this, and this. So we're going to keep Ere We Go. We're actually going to keep Foot of Gork just for fun. So if he does have like a group of clustered Demogryph Knights or something, maybe I'll be able to get a nice Foot of Gork on him and have some fun. So we're going to get 2 Orc Boarboy Biggins, just an absolute staple in any Greenskin army. Just such a good unit. Armor piercing, anti-large, and for how much you're paying, it's a pretty darn good deal. So, and also when you support them with Goblin Big Bosses, they can be a real force to be reckoned with. So we're also going to just get some Orc Biggins in the front line, some Black Orcs here. So definitely this is just the ideal front line. You literally can deal with any infantry corps with this. You have the heavy duty armor piercing with 42 weapon strength, immune to psychology. Then of course you have Biggins who just hit like trucks as well against lightly armored units. So just the Greenskins by far, this synergy of these two units. And if you see a lot of competitive Greenskin builds, it's just going to be a mixture of Black Orcs and Biggins in the front line, Orc Boars in the back, and kind of just mix and mash elsewhere. So let's go ahead and get some Goblin Wolf Riders just to kind of flank and be annoying. And we are playing the Empire, so they're going to probably have some units in the back looking to troll me. So we're going to get those guys. And let's see here. I could pinch pennies over here and maybe get some Goblin Missile Troops. But to be honest, I do have a very headstrong, aggressive Greenskin build, which I think is fine. 2 Goblin Wolf Riders might be a little excessive, but I'm just such a big fan of them as a unit, so I'm going to keep them and put some chevrons into them and just go from there. So they do now have 45 leadership, so I think we're out of the dark, guys. I think hopefully they won't rout off here. But they are shielded, so that's nice. So using them to pressure crossbowmen and handgunners and units like that, they're pretty good. They can actually take a little bit of that fire without just getting absolutely demolished. But man, their combat stats are low. I mean, look at that melee attack and melee defense is 21. If you take that 1 chevron off them, I think they go down to 19 actually, so that's pretty darn funny. But yeah, hopefully this will be a good game. It's a very traditional Greenskins build, so my apologies if it's something you see every day, but just trying to get some wins in there. Been playing a lot of trolley builds lately, a lot of all Goblin armies, and trying to make Chaos great again is definitely hard. It's just, oh man, I was playing Chaos, played 4 games in a row, and just playing the same Empire people, just spamming Amber Wizards and just punishing your heroic units. And Chaos is one of those factions that just rout. I don't know why they rout so easily when their lords die. I mean, their units don't have the worst leadership. I just feel like they rout off so quick. It's definitely tough, but yeah, it is what it is, guys. They're doing their best. Chaos is trying. So maybe these aspiring champions will be pretty good. That's going to be fun to see. How they changed the meta. The Master Marauder Horsemen, I wasn't too hyped about them, but the Manticores, being able to have Chaos can actually have a pretty scary air force now that they can bring Manticores. So it'll be interesting to see how they contest the skies after this next patch. So let's go ahead and get our crew ready. We're going to go ahead and put the Biggins in the front. We'll put the Black Orcs in the back here, which should be good. All right. And then we're also going to put the War Boss here. And I don't have a flying Air Force, so I do need to be careful and keep it high and tight, because if I don't, I'm very susceptible to dive. So I might even actually put them in the army there. So if they do get dove, they're immediately going to get surrounded. So hopefully that'll work out. So we're going to get the Biggins, the Orc Boarboy Biggins here. We're going to go ahead and put the Goblins with them. And these guys make a huge difference. You can send one into a group of Demogryph Knights, and they'll absorb the shock and then, really allow the other guys to shine. So we're going to get these Gobbos over here and probably just do some funny Vanguard deployment. I wonder if we can actually go back here. Sometimes it's fun to explore. And it looks like there is a little spot back here where they can Vanguard deploy. So hopefully my opponent doesn't look right away, and I'll actually scurry right into those bushes. That'll be pretty funny. So we'll do that. And well, my apologies, guys. I did lose my voice a little bit today at work, so having a little trouble speaking right now, but I'm doing my best for you guys, so just bear with me. So we're going to pull these guys right into those brush right away. Let's go. Let's do it, guys. Get in there, lads. And we're going to start advancing on this Empire player. So as you can see, he does have a pretty threatening Air Force, but really, I mean, he can't really land, against me. So if he does, he's going to get just swarmed by these Biggins and these, big bosses and other units like that. So as far as his infantry corps, I mean, these spearmen are going to get annihilated. I'm talking just absolutely destroyed by Biggins. They're just such a scary unit in those tight melee engagements. But looks like his Empire captain did smell the blood in the water. And they might go after the Gobbos here, which is fine. If he sends anything after these Goblins, I would already call that a victory. So we're going to pull these guys in the back and just start pressuring and just mainly advancing on his force. And every second of attention that he's wasting on, you know, these goblins here, I call that a huge victory. So just going to continue to advance because he could be like flying over my army and kind of like making me feel uneasy and, you know, a multitude of other things. So we're actually going to kind of fan out here a little bit and see if it looks like he's trying to land here, but these guys are baiting him in. So we might actually go after these demis right now and try and collapse. So let's actually do that and pull the Orc Shaman over here as well. So I'm going to lose a lot of Gobos here in this initial shock, but if I can then get a good engagement on these Demogryph Knights with my other heroic units, that's going to be pretty good. And you can see they're already terrified. So man, what a tough situation to be in. So we're going to go here, we're going to go here, and we're going to go here. All right, so far so good, guys. So my units are chasing down his heroic units here. So if these guys can get there and poison him, that's going to be pretty darn strong. So we're just going to keep going after those guys. Just keep the pressure on them. You can see those goblins are tying them up and kind of screwing up my opponent's positioning a little bit, to be honest. So we're going to go here, and we're going to go here. And these guys can come around the back here and pressure these guys. All right, so far so good. So we're still chasing here. Our opponent is definitely running, and you can see they finally look like they're getting caught here, which is going to be really bad for them because they're now poisoned. So this entire group of Demogryph Knights essentially just got traded for some goblins, which, you know, I couldn't be happier about. So my opponent just kind of throwing him to the dogs and realizing that that's probably a lost investment over there. And you can see I'm barely taking any losses. So the Biggins and other troops here are doing a pretty good job. My opponent is keeping his greatswords in reserve, so we're going to keep our units relatively high and tight here. We're going to get in here and here and here. All right, that should be good. And we're also going to use Ere We Go over here. And that's a really nice like bunch of units to use it on. So we're going to try and finish off as many of these Demogryph Knights as we can because they're a very annoying unit when they do come back. So we're going to get this buff up here. All right. And it looks like things are going to code, guys. So we're going to kind of circle behind my opponent here. And you can see these Goblin Wolf Riders still just kind of terrorizing my opponent's back line. So we're going to pull those guys over here. And this is a scary squad right here. And this is what I'm telling you about, the kind of the greenskin death blob. It's so hard to deal with that. Just the goblin big bosses alone, just the poison and just really shuts down those kind of heavy duty Demogryph type builds. So right now I think we're just going to honestly run amok among my opponent's front line. And my black orcs are in really good shape still. If you guys take a look at all of their HP and different stats, and he's trying to like find a place for this General of the Empire and, you know, other units here. And it looks like he is going to try and cheese out, which is totally fine. Very, very normal here. So we're actually going to go ahead and wait just a second longer and probably use a Potion of Foolhardiness if I do take a little bit more damage. So we're going to use the Wa, we're going to use Leadership, and we're just going to use these to be safe and just be really, really conservative about this. So we're also going to use the Fist of Gork here, and this whole group here is just going to get absolutely melted. So we're going to pull these Biggins over to help out. Definitely don't want those Spearmen to feel comfortable in that situation. We're going to pull these guys back, and it looks like I got my Goblins mixed in here. So I am tempted to use a Foot of Gork here. That would be really funny, but to be honest, I don't think it's worth it. It would probably do more work than it's worth here. So the Biggins, other troops are doing well. The Goblins are going to come in here and pressure these crossbowmen, which is so nice for, you know, how cheap they are and, you know, how effective they are in this situation. It's just awesome. So we're just waiting for buffs, checking everything, making sure everyone's happy, everyone's in a good situation. You can see the crossbowmen here are getting routed, as he did send his spearmen over here. So this situation's definitely bad. You can see his General of the Empire is broken. You know, and his other units are relatively surrounded. And the Biggins over here are just going to crush these spearmen. So you can see these guys, they've had to pop their potions. They're all wavering, and, you know, they're poisoned and they're surrounded. So, you know, I couldn't be happier about that particular situation. So we'll just check the front line. The Black Orcs are extremely resilient because he did invest a lot in this kind of flying death squad here. And it's definitely not paying off for him right now. And, you know, these Orc boards are still confident, actually. So, you know, pretty sweet situation there. So we want to chase, make sure we're keeping the pressure on them. Don't take your foot off their throat. And if we can get one of these guys, that's going to be great. But to be honest, he can't afford to land again, you know, to say the least. So these guys are back in action here. So let's go ahead and get them back on these crossbowmen here. And, yeah, if the other group of Gobos can get over there, that's going to be pretty excellent as well. So we'll just keep pressuring this Empire Captain. And these Biggins, I'm telling you, just such a good unit. I mean, even against like armored units like greatswords, and it looks like he is diving me again with his General of the Empire, so kind of a desperate last stand here, which is fine. Can't blame him. And we're going to go ahead and use the buff here and probably just hold off for a second and then use another buff here. And all right, so we'll get these Black Orcs, make sure they're all pushing in, because sometimes they'll stand like a little bit and they won't like get in there as much as they should. So we're going to make sure to target this General of the Empire here, and it looks like, did that group of Biggins actually get wiped out? That's interesting. Looks like they did. So, oh no, they didn't. They're right here. So they're going to get back in here. This General of the Empire should be going down shortly. We'll use the buff and the Wa again. And yeah, so far so good, guys. I could peel off some of these Black Orcs, but yeah, that actually might not be a bad idea. And over here, honestly, I think these two groups have it handled. Or actually, let's pull them up and around here and have them go after those crossbowmen. Shut down that missile fire, and my opponent did lose his Lord. So we're actually going to pull out here because we don't want to get tied up with those Spearmen, and we'll keep these Biggins in here, and we'll keep them fighting the Spearmen. And we'll kind of get the Goon Squad going. And, you know, my Lord, he can kind of hang out nearby, and we want to get on these Greatswords. That's going to be a much more cost-effective situation. So we're going to have these guys go here, we'll have these guys push through here, and check for, you know, kind of buffs and different things like that. That's one of the most important things, is just to be periodically checking. You guys probably saw a big mistake I commonly make is I often forget to like actually let the ability finish. So I'll cast, you actually have to wait for the full duration. if you like cast another spell before it's done, it actually cancels it. And you guys probably noticed I did that like 2 or 3 times this game. I kept checking back and noticing that I had like all this like, you know, Winds of Magic built up. I was like, God, what the heck's going on here, guys? Some treachery going on, but no, it was just me misclicking. So looks like things are going well here. The Black Orcs have done their job, so we're going to pull these guys over. And it should be all she wrote for my opponent, actually. He doesn't have much left, and, you know, I still have buffs and Winds of Magic and, you know, just a multitude of things at my disposal. But Empire Captain should rat off here in just a moment. Looks like, let's get these Black Orcs. See, they're never going to be able to catch him, obviously, but I still have plenty of mobile units. I did lose a big boss earlier. I think I just honestly forgot to use a potion. It's easy to do that. They kind of blend in with all these other troops and, you know, can easily be forgotten about. So definitely neglecting the poor lads there. So my opponent just kind of has some forces kind of periodically coming back, but, you know, at this point, I think his leadership's broken. Everything should start to rat off here. We will chase down this lower Fire Bright Wizard. This Goblin is definitely going to be very apt at doing so. You know, with that 90 speed plus Slippery. Let's go ahead and see what his speed is with Slippery. So 97, it looks like. That's pretty darn good, guys. Go ahead and gather here, get this guy going up here, focus here, and so far so good. So it looks like he's broken, and that is all she wrote, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed that Greenskin Battlecast. It was definitely a lot of fun. And I'm telling you guys, I didn't even play the best that game, but this is just the dream composition here. You know, the Biggins, Black Orcs, some big bosses, you know, the War Boss, and I mean, the Goblin Wolf Riders are interchangeable. You can kind of mix them in with different kind of, you know, support units, but really this is, I think, the creme de la creme of the Greenskin builds. But you know, a slight variation, of course. You know, if you're playing a different faction, you may bring less Black Orcs or none if, you know, it's like a really lightly armored faction like Bretonia, but again, it's pretty solid. So as far as my opponent's build, I think he brought too many Spearmen. Although, I don't know, they're decent fodder units, and the Greatswords did pretty well. But losing that Demogryph Knight like group in the beginning was a really tough situation to come back from. And, you know, my opponent put up a really good fight despite the fact that he lost like 1,700 resources right out of the gates. But really good game to my opponent, Vox Nihili. I look forward to seeing you again on ladder. And I hope you guys enjoyed that Greenskin Battlecast. Have an excellent night and take care.